Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today we have my top 5 Spydercos currently in production. I do want to specify that because I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but what about the whatever? These are the top 5 that you can still buy. I was not planning on doing this video today. It is March 12th, 2019. I'm probably going to put it up today. And another video ready for today, but I think this one's a bit better, so we're going to do that. The reason why I'm doing it today is one of these knives is a loaner and one that I have to send back, and one is one that I'm loaning out to someone else that I have to send back. So I'm going to do it now. A couple of caveats. There are 2 honorable mentions. I'll very clearly explain why. And also, I did get to handle a smock yesterday. It's another reason why I'm doing this. A random friend of mine who's not even a knife guy just had a smock in his pocket, so I got to play with that a little bit. Enough to know that it wasn't going to make this list. There's some cool things about it, but it wasn't going to make this list. And I've had the amalgam. Obviously, I had the Kapar, all this stuff. I've gotten most of the new stuff that's currently in the pipeline, except the Para 3 lightweight. I am very eager to get that. I have a feeling if I'd have had it, it might have made it. But again, this is March 12th, and I don't know when that's coming. I have it pre-ordered 2 places, so I'll get it quick, but I don't have it right now. So all that said, let's go. First honorable mention is an honorable mention because it's not technically a Spyderco. It's a Bird. It's from their budget line, the Bird Raven 2. This is just a great budget knife. 53 bucks, BD1 steel, really nice G10, very good quality. I'm very impressed with how well it's built. Just running on washers, nothing fancy at all. But even against the newer knives like, oh, the Civivis, the budget Bestecs, your budget Tuyas, stuff like that, all this stuff that's coming out, all these really nice budget knives, your more budget-ended Kershaws, I think this still holds up. I really do think it still holds up. And I did a video about this. I didn't do a full review, but I did a video saying this should have been my first Spyderco. My first Spyderco was a Spyderco Tenacious, which that's a lot of people's first Spydercos. It's about the same price as this. But 8CR, womp steel and stuff. I still maintain if you bought a Spyderco Tenacious for your first Spyderco, or you're planning on it, you either did it or are doing it wrong. This is a better knife, definitely. I do really like the Raven 2. It's a really nice knife. For 53 bucks, I really don't think you can go wrong. Does it have all the, ball bearings and all that stuff that some of the Civivis and stuff do? No, it doesn't, but it's just a great, good, working knife. One of my favorite things they make, and if it said Spyderco on it and had a round hole instead of saying bird and having the little bird beak hole, it would probably be in my top 5. But this is technically top 5 Spydercos. Next one for an honorable mention. This is only an honorable mention really because I don't own it, and I have not quite pulled the trigger on one yet, so I can't really put it in my top 5 if I didn't lay out the money to get one. But I do really like it. It's a loaner. This is the Spyderco Spidey Chef. This is a very well-loved example, and one of the previous owners buffed made the screws polished on it. Great knife. By the way, this is loaned to me by Parsons Blade Works. Check him out on Instagram if you have not, and I will try to link to his site down below. He does custom scales for some Benchmades, and also occasionally does custom phosphor bronze washers for CRKT Pilars. So very cool dude who's providing a great service. He's doing the Lord's work, as they would say. But the Spidey Chef itself, Martine Swish design, got the wire pocket clip, which I love. You're going to see that's kind of a theme here. I've got a few on here that have the wire pocket clip. I do like the wire pocket clip. LC200N steel, titanium frame lock. I like the ergos. I like how thin and slim it is in the pocket, how well it carries for a knife the size it is. As the name would indicate, Spidey Chef, it is designed for food prep work, but you know what, it works as just a great EDC. I'm not usually a big fan of blades that are all belly, but I do like it on this one quite a bit. Great knife. The only thing that gives me pause is there is no lock bar insert, but it seems to work fine. This one doesn't have any stick or anything. It's been used for a while, so that's whatever it had is all worn out. And it really does remind me, just in feel-wise, of my Chris Reeve Sebenza I used to have. It really does kind of remind me of that. I really think it is kind of Spydercos Sebenza. It is my favorite of the Swish designs. That being said, I've never had a Swish buoy, but that's out of production, so it wouldn't be in this list anyway. I like it better than the Techno 2. Well, that's a nice knife too, but I do like it better than that. Awesome. And they're about 214 bucks, by the way. So they're not crazy expensive, especially for a Martin Swish design. Go check that out. Next up, now we're into the actual top 5. This is my actual top 5. And these are in no particular order, except for at the end, I am going to pick what I think is the best thing they currently make. At this particular, again, March 12th, 2019, the best thing I think they currently make. First up, probably own this knife longer than anything else in my collection, the Manix 2 Lightweight. I'm a big fan of the Manix 2. In some ways, I do like it better than the Paramilitary 2, even though the PM2 is a bit more popular. I think I do like this a bit better, and this is my favorite version of it. It's just the base model Manix 2 Lightweight, the BD1 steel. This is the black. I kind of wish I had the translucent blue. Other than that, I think it's my absolute favorite Manix 2. Again, wire pocket clip. And the ball bearing lock. It's flippy and fun. Again, I've had this one for a long time, so it is super well broken in. But you can do all the Spydercos, Spidey Flick, all that stuff you want to do with it. Just a great workhorse knife, and usually right around $100, which I don't think is bad at all for this knife. I really don't. The BD1, Spydercos BD1's pretty darn good. As it said, they have it on the Raven 2 also. It's just, I never had a problem with it. It's fairly easy to sharpen, holds an edge reasonably well. It's not, not a super steel by any means, but it's pretty good. I never had a problem with corrosion or anything like that. And the bidirectional coating works really well. And spoiler alert, if you guys are fans of some of the other FRN, these are FRN handles. If you're fans of some of the FRN handle Spydercos, this is the only one you're going to see. None of the other ones quite made it, but this one did. I really like it. And this is a similar configuration because of BD1N, which is going to be great on the Para 3 Lightweight. And it's much more contoured kind of handle, sort of more like you see on the Dragonfly and the Delica and the Endura and stuff. That's why I'm so excited by the knife. And even a bit cheaper than this. So I'm really excited for the Para 3 Lightweight for all the reasons that I love this. I'm doing a top 5 currently produced, and I'm talking more about a knife that isn't out yet. Next up, how could you have one of these lists without a PM2 on it? You kind of have to. This is a PM2 that is not currently available. I'm just using this as a placeholder. This is the Crewwear Smooth G10 from Knife Center version. But the base PM2 starts at like 140. It's a timeless design. It just really is. The base one has S30V and, normal G10. It's just a timeless design. It works great. It's a true freaking classic. And the compression lock, so much fun. I really like that about it. I like just fiddling with it. And I like a knife that's fun to fiddle with. I really, really do. This one does have an aftermarket deep carry clip for those of you with keen eyes. It's a Casey Lynch one. It doesn't really need it. I sometimes use it, sometimes don't. But I kind of just had an extra one after I got another clip for another knife. So I put it on here, and it'll stay. But it doesn't really require it like some new Spydercos do. Looking at you, Para 3 and the Smock and the Broward. Yeah, some of them require it out of the box. I don't know why Spyderco does that, but they've forgotten where pocket clips go. But this one is fine without it. I just happen to have it on there. But yeah, what else can you say about a PM2? One thing I can say about it is the last time I had this on one of my top whatever lists, I had my top EDCs of all time thing, and a couple PM2 haters come out and say, "Oh, you just like it because you've drank the Kool-Aid. It's all hype." You know what? If 9 out of 10 people reviewing something, any product, being it a knife, being it a washing machine, whatever, if 9 out of 10 people love it, maybe it's just good. And it really annoys me when you watch knife reviews and 9 out of 10 people love it, and then one guy does a negative review, and the guy who does the negative review gets comments saying, finally an honest review. Maybe he's just wrong. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe if 9 out of 10 people like it, it's just great, and it doesn't mean that the 10th person is a genius and found something no one else found. He might just be wrong. That was a rant. Next up, we have, what are we going to do? Again, these are no order till the end here. Your Spydercos Sage 5. I love the Sage 5, and you guys convinced me to get one. It's just, ergonomically for me, it's just perfection. And I do live in an area where I sometimes have to carry 3 inches or under. This is a 3-inch blade. Again, the wire clip. Taichung, Taiwan. I like the Peel Ply Carbon. I think it's a good texture. I don't care that it's not carbon all the way through. This thing is not ridiculously expensive. It's $150. There are plenty of $150 knives that have just regular old G10. I think it's completely fine that it's got that. It's a very good slicer. Pretty thin blade stock. S30V steel. And just, it's just so comfortable. And again, the compression lock. And again, it's broken in really well. The Taichung Taiwan compression locks occasionally take a bit longer to break in. My 2 that are here in this review have not taken a long time to break in, but some of them do. They're not too terribly hard to take apart and tune up either if you want to, you know, oil them up and all that stuff. But I think mostly it's just the ergonomics of this. This is, I know I have put this in comparisons between other 3-inch knives, and I don't think it's ever won. But it's still one of my favorites, because when I do the comparisons, I go by a fairly scientific method, you know, of scoring different categories. And it rarely wins that many specific categories except the ergonomics, but it's still just one that I grab all the freaking time. Love the Sage 5. Highly recommend it. Awesome knife. Next up, we have, we'll do this one next. The Gail Bradley 2. This is one that does not get enough love. I think a lot of us knife nerds really love it, but the general public doesn't. This M4 steel, super slicey. I think these are like $160. Again, Peel Ply Carbon. Again, Taichung, Taiwan. This again does have a deep carry pocket clip. This one really doesn't need it. I hardly ever have it on here. I just happened to, I didn't even remember that it was on here when I took it out. This is an MXG Gear deep carry clip, but it definitely doesn't, it's just not that kind of knife. And it doesn't carry super high when it doesn't have it, but it's classy looking and as slicey as the day is long. Gail Bradley does a lot of cutting competitions and stuff like that, and it clearly shows in the shape of this blade. Ergonomics are excellent. The Gail Bradley 2 is just fantastic. I kind of always feel like this is a knife that, like, if I see that someone has one of these, I'm like, oh, he's a knife guy. He knows of what he speaks, because this is a knife that doesn't get a lot of press. It's not the prettiest looking thing in the world, but it's just fantastic. And I always think, if you got one of these, you know what you're doing. It's like if you walk into somebody's garage full of cars and they have a couple of old Alfa Romeos, you're like, okay, that's a car guy. If somebody's got one of these, you're like, ah, that's a knife guy. Lastly, fairly new edition, the Spyderco Kapara. Just came out late last year, and I love this thing. It's been fantastic. Again, another food prep knife, designed by Alistair Phillips from Australia. It's just ergonomically, it's great. The blade is great. Again, thin blade stock, very slicey. Works awesome for what it's designed for. Again, just you've got the compression lock that just works fantastically well. Again, deep, you know, the wire deep carry pocket clip. As I said, that would be a theme here. And I love the Kapara. And look at that carbon. Some of the prettiest carbon I've ever seen, and I've had knives a hell of a lot more expensive than this. This is like $190, $188 something. I've had knives a lot more expensive than this that did not have carbon as nice as this, and nicely contoured and everything. Just a great knife. So we're going to leave this out, and I'm going to pull out some others. So we are going to talk about what is, I'm going to put my head on the chopping block. What is my favorite thing that Spyderco currently makes? Okay, we got I'm gonna try and get all 5 of them on screen here. I'm kind of looking at my camera, and then we will pick. I'm just gonna start eliminating stuff, and then we'll go down to the final 2, and I'll say, PM2 is awesome, but it's kind of like which version? Which version do you pick? I think it's the PM2 is like I love this version a lot, but there's so many. I'm gonna take the PM2 out just because I don't think they need to make a PM3 where they made the Para 3 a bit smaller. You know what I mean? I don't think they need to upgrade it or anything like that. It's just when you think about your favorite one, it's like, well, which one? Mannix 2 lightweight. I've owned it a very, very long time. I have no plans on ever getting rid of it. It's still a great knife, but, you know, it's just doesn't have all the highlight stats. Gail Bradley 2, again, I'd say this is the knife guy's knife, but I think for the average everyday person, you know, they're not going to know much about it. They're just going to look at it's not fun to play with or anything like that, you know. Yeah, we're gonna knock that one out too. So down to the last 2, and these are my honest to God last 2 of anything Spydercos has in production right now: the Sage 5 or the Capara. For me personally, I live in a city where sometimes I do need a 3-inch blade. So for me personally, if I could keep only 2, it'd probably be the Sage 5. But for, I think, the average human that doesn't have to deal with those kind of knife laws, I think the Capara. And it's a fairly new offering. And it's not designed by one of the Glessers, and it's a collaboration and all that stuff. But man, it's freaking awesome. I just love the Capara. And you will see most reviewers love it as well. It's just a fantastic knife. I'm going to go out on a limb, all that stuff, all the cliches, and say this is my current thing that Spyderco currently makes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I've been Brian. Have a good one.